in that. So let's start our today's session. So the last session was actually few days back. So we'll revise what we went through in our last session. Then we will start our today's continuation of that session. Okay. So last session we were discussing the visualization concept. Okay. So what is visual information? What are image? Then we were going to the common values which are involved in image processing, and then we will understand the characteristics of image operations. Okay, so we went through this in our last lecture, the concept of visual information, in which we went through that the real world is actually, if we look as a image, then it's a small window, and every point in the window is actually pixel, and the light coming from the window uh, will be projected on our eyes, and based on that particular light intensity, we visualize the information, right? So that's what we discussed, and also we discussed that if we actually convert this into the information, then we have wavelength of the light, which actually gives us color information, right? And if we minimize this color information, as if we say that the light is monochromatic light, then we have only one light, so it will be looked as a grayscale image. And when we say grayscale image, then the total energy will be just the intensity of the light, not this color information. So in this particular image, we seen that this is what grayscale images is called as. So here there is not just white and black color, right? There is not just white and black color. So you can see, if we see just white and black color, so this particular pixel here has black color, whereas this particular pixel has very bright color. Okay, so that is, we can consider it as a white. So this is white and this is black. But if you consider this color here, so this is not completely black, not completely white. It is in between black and white, and it is more towards the black color. So it is more towards black color, means it is a blackish color, right? And same way, if we look into, let's say, this color. Okay, so at this pixel, this color is more towards the white color and less towards the black color. So based on that, we get different shades of black and white also. That is called as gray color. So this is one shade, right? This is another shade. Then here also we get white color. This cap is of another shade. Then all these different color shades we have. Okay, so this is what gray image means. Okay, so in particular, we have different type of images, like this is gray image. We also know about color image, so where everything is in different color. So that is color image. We also have black and white image. Black and white image will have just two colors only. That is black and white, not the shade of black and white. So if it has shade of black and white, then it becomes gray image. But if doesn't have shades of black and white, then it is just the black and white image, or we can also say uh, a binary image, right? Black and white image also called as binary image. So we went through this and we said that so complete image will be divided into number of rows and number of columns. And this dividing the image into number of rows and number of columns is nothing but it's a sampling. So normally you have learned about sampling in your different subjects, but in that sampling, what you had is 1D sampling, that is one dimensional sampling. But here we have two-dimensional sampling. That's why we have rows and columns. The another different thing is that in images, we are not talking about time. We are talking about space. So images are also called as spatial signals. Okay. So images are nothing but spatial signals, not time domain signals, but spatial signal. So here you can see this complete space. Space means it's a area. So this area is divided into number of rows and number of columns. So this is what sampling in spatial domain means. That is in 2D spatial domain. Okay. So first we are performing a sampling. Then each intersection between rows and columns is called as pixel. Pixel is nothing but it's a abbreviation of picture element. So picture element abbreviation is pixel. Okay. So this each point here, this each point is nothing but they are pixels, picture elements. Okay. So if we consider that, then this particular has how many rows? One, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And it has columns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So it is 16 by 16 image, right? 16 rows, 16 columns image. So my question here is how many pixels are there for this particular image? If there are 16 rows and 16 columns, then how many pixels are there for this particular image? Can anyone answer that? Yes, that's right. It will be 256. So it has 256 pixels. Okay. So resolution of this image is can be called now as 256. Okay. So resolution is nothing but it's a number of pixels in a image. So this is what resolution means. Wherever you see resolution, like when you check up your phone camera, it is given in resolution that it has so many megapixels, right? So that megapixels is nothing but they are arranged in rows and columns like this, and they have that many pixels. Okay, so that is resolution of the image or resolution of the camera. Okay. And we also assume that each point is a function of intensity, but it is not actually just the intensity. It will be a complicated function, which will be the function of the depth, the color, and also the time. Okay. Time here, we are not having time domain signal, but time is listed here because if you consider a moving object like a car which is moving on a road, then for each particular time, the image will keep on changing until the car goes, right? So as the car is going, the image is changing. That's why we also require the time here. Okay. So it will be the function will be the combination of the intensity, combination of the color, combination of the depth, and combination of the time also. So this all together gives us the final function, and the output of that function will be stored at that particular pixel point. Okay. So that is what we can say digital image is. So in definition, we can say digital image is nothing but it's derived from a continuous image, and it is derived through a sampling process. Of course, whenever we do sampling, there will be quantization also. So we are actually performing sampling and quantization both together. Okay. And the digital image will be divided into rows and columns, that is n rows and m columns. and the resolution of the image will be n by m, that is n multiplied by n. Now the common values which are involved in the images, let's see that. So these common values are due to the to make the images standardized, okay, whether it might be for video standards or for using the image for different algorithm requirements like fast Fourier transforms or any other thing, okay. So these are the common values which are used. So in general, the rows which are used, number of rows are like 256, 512, 525, 625, 1024 or 1035. Number of columns will be like 256, 512, 768, 1024 and 1320. Gray levels can be 264, 256, 1024, 4096 and 16,384. Okay. In this 2 is important. 2 is important because the 2 tells us if the gray level is 2, then it is nothing but it has just white color and black color. So it has only 2 colors. So it is also called as binary image. So gray image with only 2 levels is nothing but binary image. Okay. So in general, the gray levels will be of 256. Why 256? Most of the gray level images will be having the levels 256. Why 256? It is very simple because it is 2 power 8, right? 2 power 8 means we have 8 here, and this 8 is very important because it tells us that we can store this in 8 bits, right? So until 256 number, until 256, we can store it in 8 bits. So as you have seen in memory, a lot of the memory are arranged in terms of 8 bits, right? So we can say each location in a memory storing the value of each pixel. Okay. So this gray levels tells us this M and N, this both together tells us number of pixels, whereas gray level tells us what value will be stored in that particular pixel, right? So if we are adopting 256 for gray level, that means 8 bits we are going to use to store this value. So for each pixel, we are going to use 8 bits. Okay. So if like previous one, if the image is 16 by 16, then what we have is if the image is 16 by 16, then we are going to have total of 256 pixels. So each pixel having a gray level, which is of 8 bit. So we will get total bits required to store this image will be 16 multiplied by 16, that is m multiplied by n multiplied by number of bits required for storing the each gray level, that is 80. Okay. So that many bits will be required to store the image. Got it? So can anyone answer me if I want to store an image of 10 by 10? Yes, that right. 2048 will be the answer. For this 2048 will be answer, and that many bits will be required. Okay. Now let's have a question here, that let's say that if there is an image of 10 by 10, okay, that is m and n are 10, and let's say we are using a gray level with 64 different levels, okay, 64 different levels, where L we are having 64. Then how many bits will be required now? So here number of bits required. Can anyone answer this question? It will be 600. Yes. Why 600? Because we have this 10 multiplied by 10. Then 64 is nothing but 2 power 6, right? So we have 6 here. So in 64, each value will be stored in 6 bits. So total 600 bits. Okay. So why I took this example is you can see that if we decrease number of levels, then the size or the memory required, even though we are keeping the resolution, if we say 16 by 16 here, MN and 16 by 16, then we have this. So we are keeping here same 16 by 16 image, and now we are trying to do this. Okay. So let's see what we have here. So it will be let me calculate it. So it will be around 256 multiplied by 6. So 1536. Okay. So we can see that even though if we are keeping the image size same, that is 16 by 16 in both the case, by just changing number of levels, we can decrease the size of the image. Okay. Then which number has to be kept? That is the how many levels has to be kept. So number of levels actually depends on what particular application you want to perform. You want to do with this image processing. But in general, 256 is taken. It has two different reasons why we took 256, because first reason is most of the memory will be of 8 bits. So it is easy to store 8 bits in 8-bit memory, right? The second thing is with 256 levels, more than 256 levels, if the difference is more than 250, let's say 1024 levels. Okay. If we take 1024 levels, then our eyes or our brain doesn't discriminate that many colors. Our brain doesn't differentiate that many colors. So if two colors are just almost similar, then our brain will take it as the same color itself. If it won't differentiate it between those two colors. So that's why we don't require 1024. Okay. So that's why we take it 2056. It is quite sufficient for our brain to analyze. So most of the time, the gray levels will be 256. Okay. Then, so these are the common values. So we have pixels. So pixels is nothing but picture elements, and we have number of rows and number of columns. Then we have number of discrete gray levels. So most of the time, number of rows and number of columns will be 2 power in terms of 2 power n, and most of the times the image will be of square image, not rectangular image. So square image means we will having number of rows and number of columns same. So there is one more question here. Sir, where do we use 16384 this? Okay. So 16384 is nothing but what we call it as HD image. HD images or HD video which we see are nothing but it has lot of pixels. So in general, it is I think 1024 by 786, something like that. Okay. HD images are nothing but 1024 by 786. So we multiply 1024 by 786. So then something that way we get. So it's this here number of gray level, sorry. 16384 is not related with rows and columns. It is related with gray levels. Yes, it is related with gray levels. So this one, these are very leastly used. This one, this one, this one are not much used. They are used in very specific applications, like in the applications like where you want to deal with microorganism, very that is microscopic images, or where you have very big images like in a space. Okay, at that time you use this extraordinary particular uh, values. So if you look into uh, this will actually require lot of memory. Okay, lot of memory to store this type of images. Okay, so that is what difficult is with this particular values. There are common values, but they are not very much used. Very much use is only this 256. Okay, so in later on, while we do practical, at that time also you can see that the 256 is most common in all these values. So most of the time we have square images, so n and m value will be same. We will take it as 2 power n, and there will be gray levels. So gray levels will be most of the time 256. It will that means it will be 2 power m itself, 2 power 8 itself. Okay, and this is what the calculation is. So if it is square image, then it will be n multiplied by m. That is what it is. Now the resolution. So one resolution already I told you, that is number of rows and number of columns. If you multiply number of rows and number of columns, we get pixels resolution, pixel resolution. Okay, but but in scientific term, images are measured in terms of spatial resolution, not in terms of pixel resolution. Pixel resolution is only for common people to understand, but whereas spatial resolution is for scientific purpose. Okay, so whenever we do scientific calculations and all those, at the time we require spatial resolution. Let's see what is spatial resolution. So let's say that if we have a line, okay, if we are using a this chart that has a vertical line, okay, and let's say that vertical line is, let's say like this, we have a vertical line, a vertical bar graph. So let's say the width of this is w. Okay, and then again we have another bar graph, and the space between these two is again w. Okay, so this is called line pairs. Line and the space, these two together is called line graph, line pair. Okay, these two together here is line pair. So every line will have space associated with it, so there will be line pairs. Okay, so we are saying that line is of width w, and also space is of width w. So we have one line pair in each 2w, right? Or we can say that for every 1 by for every space of 1 by 2w, for every unit space there is 1 by 2w line pairs. Okay, so for every unit space there is 1 by 2w line pairs. Okay, so this, in this terminology, space resolution is calculated. So in images, what we say is there are number of lines, line pairs in particular space. That is, for 1 mm of distance, there are 100 lines, something like this, 100 lines pair, line pairs. Okay, so each line indicates a number of rows, or it indicates number of columns. So we can say that a vertical resolution and a horizontal resolution. So vertical resolution tells that how many columns are there in that particular image, and horizontal resolution tells how many rows are there. Okay, and it is given by line pairs per unit distance. So something like this, 100 line pairs per mm. So that is what spatial resolution is. And of course, we went through gray level resolution. So it tells the difference between two particular consecutive colors. So if we take 64 gray levels, then it has 64 levels. So gray level resolution will be 64. If we take 256, then gray level resolution will be 256. Okay. Now look, now let's look into characteristics of image operations. So image operations can be of different types. So most common operations are derived from how they have been operated with the pixels, okay, with the neighboring pixels. So in this, we can classify these operations into three different types. The first one is called as point operation, second one local operation, and third one global operations. This name is given based on this particular operation it is performing. So in point operation, only we take one pixel and that we operate on that particular pixel, and then we get the result based on the operation on that particular pixel only, and we place that output at that particular pixel only. So that particular pixel will be changed. In local operation, so some of the pixel surrounding that particular pixel on which we want to make the operation will be taken and operation will be performed, and that particular pixel will be replaced. So we are taking neighboring pixels and then we are performing the operation and then we are placing it. Okay. And global, complete image will be taken, operation will be performed, and the value of that particular pixel will be changed. So this graphically is represented here. Okay. So this is point operations. Okay. So where only one point from source image is taken, that is one pixel is taken, it is been operated and replaced. So for example, if you want to do a image multiplication with a scalar value, that is 2a, that means you want to multiply every pixel in the image with a value 2 to increase the brightness in the image. So you take this pixel, you multiply it with 2 and replace that pixel with the new value, which is 2 of that pixel. Okay, got it? So that is point operation. Whereas local operation is you take neighboring pixel of the pixel for which you want to change the values, and then you perform the operation and replace that particular pixel with the new value. So this can be like you are adding with a neighboring value, or you are subtracting with the neighboring value, or something like that. Okay. And the global is where you take complete image with all the pixels in that image, you perform something on that, like Fourier transform. You do Fourier transform, at that time you take complete image, and then you replace that particular point with that particular value itself. So complete image will give you only one particular value of one particular pixel. Okay. So that is what global operation is. So image processing operation can be divided into these three types: point, local, and global. And when we talk about neighbors, then neighbors can be classified, that is, it has different neighbors. So generally what we have is images, we always talk about these things, right? Number of rows and number of columns. We don't do it like this thing, but this is also possible. This is called as hexagonal image. So if we are using this, then we have two different types of neighbors. One is called N4. N4 are those neighbors which are directly neighbor of the pixels we are talking. That is horizontal neighbor and vertical neighbor only. Then we have N8. N8 is apart from N4, that is, it has horizontal neighbor as well as vertical neighbor. Apart from that, it also has diagonal neighbor with it. So there will be 8 pixels which are in neighbor of that. Okay. We also can call as N15 neighbors also. N15 neighbor is with this 8, we can include this surrounding neighbors, and there will be total 15 neighbors. So we can call it as N15 neighbors. Not more than 15, that is 12 and plus 8 and 20 neighbors. Okay. No, 16 plus 8, 24. And 24 neighbors like this, or you can just have this particular image, this particular pixels, and we can call it that. So N8 neighbors are only this very direct neighbors of that center pixel. Those are N8 neighbors. And here in hexagonal, we have N6 neighbor. So in general, we don't use this. So we are not going to use N6 neighbor. We are going to either use N4 neighbors or N8 neighbors. Okay. That's it for today's session. Any doubts in this? Have you understood about neighbors and operations, type of operations and type of neighbors?
Sir, can you just repeat what are the different neighbors, sir? Neighbors point.
So let me do this again. So this N4 numbers. So we are talking about neighbors of this particular pixel, center pixel. Okay. So ये जो center pixel है, इसके ही neighbors. तो N4 neighbor जो है, जो direct horizontal or vertical neighbors है. Okay. Vertical neighbors are these two neighbors. Horizontal neighbors are these two neighbors. So we say this as a N4 neighbors. Okay. Same way we have N8 neighbors. So this is center pixel and इसके neighbors कौन-कौन से? ये सभी neighbors है. So we have horizontal, we have vertical, as well as we have diagonal neighbors. Okay, that is N8 neighbors. Okay. Now if we include other neighbors also, ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ N4 और N8 है. We have N24 neighbors also like this. If we include this also, okay, this 16 pixels also, 16 plus 8 will give us 24. So N24 neighbors if we include this also. Hexagonal में ये center pixel है, तो इसके surrounding में ये 6 pixels है, right? So these are called as N6 neighbors. Okay. So when we are doing local operations, at that time these neighbors are important. We need to define what will be our local pixels on which operations will be performed. अगर N8 को लेके करते हैं तो हम सेंटर पिक्सल को अगर I से इंडिकेट करते हैं सेंटर पिक्सल को, so we can say I minus neighbor 1 minus neighbor 2 plus neighbor 3 plus neighbor 4, something like this. Okay, so this operation is performed on neighbors with the help of neighbors. So this is called as local operation. Okay, got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other doubts? Everyone, please give your attendance in the chat box. The thing is, we do lot of things with the local operator. Like if you want to find out the edge, okay, images में अगर edge find करना है, edge यानी line, okay, separating line find out करना है तो हम local operations use करते हैं, okay. जो है, हाँ, ये इमेज। तो ये इमेज में अगर एज, एज यानी ये जो कैप का बाउंड्री है, दिस इज कॉल्ड एज एज। ओके, अगर ये एज फाइंड आउट करना है तो हम क्या करेंगे, ये जो पिक्सल है और उससे उसके नेबरिंग पिक्सल अलग है या सेम है, वो चेक करते हैं। तो वो कैसे चेक करते हैं, लोकल ऑपरेटर से। वो एक बार लोकल ऑपरेटर से चेक होता है, अगर वहाँ पे अगर ये डिफाइंड हुआ कि ये बॉर्डर पिक्सल है, दैट इट विल गिव अस दिस बॉर्डर लाइन, that is edge. Okay, so when we do practically perform this, you will understand what actually this means. Okay, okay, we'll stop here for today. So you can give attendance. If you have given the attendance, then you can leave the meeting.